Welcome everyone to WarThunder Histories, episode 21, and today we're asking the question, why do aircraft that aren't designed to land on aircraft carriers have tailhooks? We'll look at a number of different aircraft that have them, their purpose in a more conventional sense, and how they differ between carrier and non-carrier aircraft. I hope you enjoy. So firstly, what is an arrestor gear? To put it simply, arrestor gear is a series of steel cables laid across a landing area, usually an aircraft carrier, but can be found on some conventional runways, usually military airfields. The landing aircraft would lower a hook, usually located to the rear of the fuselage, that extends slightly below the main gear. The aircraft aims to touch down just before the arresting cable so the hook can catch, quickly slowing the aircraft, which is especially useful on the very limited landing space of an aircraft carrier. This does require some precision, as if you land too late, you can miss all the cables altogether, and if you land too early, this can result in the hook bouncing over the cable and not catching it as it is intended. So almost all carrier-based aircraft use tailhooks, with the exception of rotary wing aircraft such as helicopters, and short takeoff and vertical landing aircraft such as the Harrier and F-35B. As I previously mentioned, the hook is designed to snag one of the steel arrestor cables and quickly slow the aircraft in the very limited deck space. Once stopped, the cable tension is released and the pilot will retract the hook and taxi out of the landing area. So it's important to note that not all non-carrier aircraft have tailhooks. During World War II, almost all Army and Air Force aircraft were not equipped with tailhooks, whereas almost all Navy and Marine aircraft were. As non-carrier aircraft usually didn't land on carriers or had plenty of space to stop on conventional runways, there was no need for them. As aircraft got faster, with more jets and better and more powerful engines, some non-carrier aircraft started to gain tailhooks for a few reasons. Now this does not include aircraft such as the Phantom, because the Phantom was designed to be a carrier aircraft and was only adopted by Air Forces after its introduction to the Navy. A good example of a pure Air Force jet is the English Electric Lightning, which has no means of landing on an aircraft carrier, but does have a tailhook. Briefly, we'll have to talk about how a conventional aircraft lands. Usually, an aircraft will come in at a shallower rate of descent when compared to a carrier aircraft. The aircraft will then flare, using the aircraft's surface area to create drag and slow down gradually, then using its wheel brakes to fully stop when all the wheels have touched down. For those of you that don't know, flaring is essentially pulling the nose of the aircraft up and slowing down more gradually just before touchdown, and then into the touchdown, in order to reduce the stress put onto the main landing gear. So where does the tailhook come in? And now this leads us to our final part. So as we established, the carrier-based aircraft use tailhooks regularly, so they're built to be rugged, they're strong, and they can be extended and retracted by the pilot from the cockpit. Non-carrier aircraft tailhooks are almost exclusively used for emergencies, whether it be for brake or hydraulic failure or any other kind of failure that may need it. The tailhook could be lowered by the pilot, which would remove a holding pin and allow gravity to release the hook. Usually the pilot wouldn't be able to manually retract it, relying on ground crew to replace it after the emergency is handled. On conventional runways, the arresting cables could be called for by pilots by saying cable, cable, cable. The tower could then raise the cables from recesses in the runway. It is important to note that due to non-carrier aircraft only really using their tailhook for emergencies, they're not usually as strong as those used on carrier aircraft, but that's not to say that they're any less effective at bringing the aircraft to a quicker stop. Another reason for carrier-based aircraft having stronger tailhooks is because carrier aircraft generally land very, very hard when compared to conventional runway landings, meaning it has to be able to survive the constant impacts. Many modern aircraft such as the F-15 and F-16 still are equipped with tailhooks for emergency use and have been used in real emergency situations to great effect. Anyway guys, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you've learned something and enjoyed today's video. If you did, please consider leaving us a like and subscribe if you're new here and you like what we do. Let me know if there's any vehicle or battle you'd like to see on the series, or anything about aviation history or tank history or anything really, to be honest with you. Just let me know what you want to see. Thanks again everyone, and I will see you in the next one.